And welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. We are the Dudley Boys of What Culture. I'm Adam Wilbourn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on Wrestle Culture. As I said, they're joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review last night's Dynamite, your first one of the year.
Indeed. I really enjoyed it without thinking it was outstanding. Oddly enough, the thing that I've been accustomed to really getting hyped for and enjoying, I did not think delivered. But there was more than one moment where I'm thinking, that's a good idea to do with that wrestler, or I'm really glad that this wrestler's got something. I felt a bit like Hamflett watching it. Like, this wrestler's going to do this thing, and it's good because it clears the pathways for other wrestlers to do other things. I just felt like...
Booking, ever heard of it?
Shut up, man, you stupid... I thought a lot of it was coming together.
Yeah.
But I have heard of booking. Every promotion ever has been booked. I'm just interested in the specific booking pattern. And I want to say one thing as well. For God knows how long these words have not left my mouth. There was a bit of deft dovetailing booking on this show where I'm like, that is the level of thought I associate with All Elite Wrestling, and I was so charmed by it. It was just like, that's what I want. That is what I want. I thought, not a world beater of a Dynamite, nothing to get so jazzed up about that you're bouncing into work, where you're being a little mark and listening to the themes on the way or anything like that. But no, I'm looking at Revolution, and I like it a lot more than I did this time yesterday.
Yeah, like... A second good show. Like, I thought last week's Dynamite was good, this one as well. For God knows how long, these words haven't left my mouth. Better than Raw. Like, comfortably.
It's always better than Raw.
It's never better than Raw.
It's always better than Raw.
That's been the problem since January 2023. It's never better than Raw anymore. And this week it was better than Raw. Like,
so it often is.
I don't think we've got the receipts, mate.
Well, we do. They're getting slowly added to Netflix as we speak.
This is a really good show. We did... Despite our jovial disagreements, we immediately agreed without knowing yet again. Second time this week, Sidge.
We are!
Early 2025. Over the element of this show that was a bit like, still a couple of probskis kicking around the old mid-card ski. But otherwise, really good across the board.
It's weird how I enjoyed this show as well. And the only bit that I went, it's when the world champion came out. Oh, to get this out of the way.
Who came out?
The world champion came out.
Yeah.
It's so surreal.
I mean,
I'm really good. Oh God, the world champ's here.
You'd have to walk out to the ring if some strange cave dude kept going, Marks, what did I do? I got up and won. What's he doing?
We'll get
all right.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll get this. Bit of Kobe.
No Pointer Sisters though. Disappointed with that.
I'm not.
Okay.
I still think it might just be a New Year's Day thing.
I think it's just when they want to, basically.
That's true. It doesn't have credits every week, I guess, does it? Yeah, so.
But we come on the air with Excalibur, with the usual panel, Daddy Magic, and of course Ian Riccoboni. Tony Schiavone, busy with some assignment, I assume.
He's on assignment, apparently.
Yes.
I mean, that's not regular speculation, is it? He said that Chris Charlton stinks.
In more ways than one.
Figuratively and literally. And why are you laughing?
Yeah. I was thinking of a joke from yesterday's NXT podcast. One of Sax's jokes. The one about why dancers wear baggy trousers. It's a really good joke. And it just
tell the audience.
Well, we won. You went in.
Yeah, I don't know this.
Why do dancers wear baggy trousers?
Dancers wear baggy trousers. It'd be some sort of dance-related punchline. So they can swivel their hips better or something.
It's good. It's not right. For the ballroom.
That's a good joke.
Yeah, that's why I was laughing.
Weird that he didn't mention his engagement, by the way.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Stax.
Congratulations to NXT superstar Channing Stax Lorenzo on your recent engagement.
We learned from Twitter that you are engaged and you have an absolutely massive dick. Congratulations for both.
That's what we've learned over Christmas. Yep. Anyway, Dynamite begins with Will Ospreay versus Matthews. Sorry. Early on, they trade finishes, high kicks, stalemate, obviously. Ospreay knocks him to the floor for a big...
Need I say more?
for a big dive. They collide with a crossbody. And then Buddy Matthews...
They just were.
avoided the cheeky Nando's kick, sent Ospreay to the outside with a backbreaker, and did a big...
This match had everything.
Salt Blanchard. They go back inside, and Matthews...
No words could do this match justice.
Matthews hits a meteor.
Don't write then.
Meteor over the 2 count. I don't know.
Episode 8 of Twin Peaks.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about other outlets.
Episode 8 of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Unreviewable. Well, I'm friends with Michael Sidgwick.
I always remember, I can't remember, it was some random game. David Pleat, remember him? Mm-hmm. Was commentating on it, and someone scored like a great goal. He's like, there's no words to describe that goal. Outstanding. Unbelievable. What are you doing, David? Anyway, they fight to the apron. Will Ospreay goes for the Oz cutter.
He was caught out with a sex worker. Sex workers work, but obviously the 80s, reported that in a very
scandals,
different way.
And
Skandak. That's how young me learned the phrase, because it was always attached to David Pleat's name after that, and it's kind of a funny phrase for like a strange industry to talk about. David Pleat, the curb crawler.
Love Rat Darren Day.
It's like he's not even in his car. It's just like sort of like almost like Tombs from the X-Files.
Yeah.
Sort of like slinking up against the curb. Where's all the prostitutes?
Jesus Christ.
David Pleat.
Ospreay gets thrown off the apron face first into the commentary table. That looked like it sucked.
Yeah.
That was one of the high points of a match that, we'll get to it.
Buddy Matthews channels Brody King. Pump kick against the railing. Goes for it again, but runs into a thrust kick and an Oz cutter from Will Ospreay off the barricade. He just breaks the count to get back in, rolls straight into a springboard drop kick and an Oz cutter in the ring for a 2 count. Ospreay goes for the hidden blade, but Matthews ducks it, pop-up knee, but Ospreay no-sells that and hits a hidden blade for a nice 2 count. Goes for another Oz cutter, but Buddy Matthews catches him with a sort of inverted GTS.
That looked sick.
And a curb stomp for a very close 2 count.
Curb crawl.
Matthews tries for the Rainmaker, but Ospreay floats over. Styles clash, 2 count, and then Ospreay sets up for the hidden blade, and Buddy Matthews sort of knows what's coming and just eats it. 1, 2, 3. Post-match, interesting little promo here from Will Ospreay, who calls him Buddy Murphy and then Matthews. He says, I've wrestled you, I've wrestled Brody King. You don't need a leader. Tonight, one of the best in the world. I can see you winning tag gold or singles gold. If you ever need anyone in your corner, Buddy, I'm your guy. And they shake hands and Ospreay heads to the back.
One little note before I forget, before I get to my analysis of the match, which is quite brief. In consecutive weeks, they've basically, between Jeff Jarrett last week and Will Ospreay this week, have portrayed tag gold as some lesser concern, which is not remotely ideal considering it was, those belts felt Rampage exclusive until this week's positive, promising development. Jarrett was like, I'm not talking about tag or trios gold. Like, quite dismissive, especially for a guy who's meant to be as experienced and as intelligent as Jarrett. And then Ospreay was like, even singles gold. It's like, I thought this was the company that was going to promote it with equal stature to the singles titles. So I hate that. I really hated that. Just wanted to get that out of my system. Get to the post-match. The match, I'm very lenient when it comes to selling, and I'm old enough and wise enough to know that what works, and that there is no real logic to anything in pro wrestling, and it's all about emotion and feel, and it's all subjective. I didn't feel like some of this offense was quite incredible. Not ultimate high Ospreay grade stuff, but like a GTS to the back of the heat, amazing. That bump on the announce table looked wicked. Like, it's one of those where you can hear the vicarious wince of pain from the crowd. But sell it a bit, lads.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't feel, if you're going to do that adrenaline-fueled pop-up and then do the sell, make it feel like you're in a total scrap. It just felt like a hollow display of hard-hitting, athletic, ultra-fast wrestling. If they did this for 5 minutes and then it ended, I would have been so much kinder. It was in that uneasy space between this epic with this big old finishing stretch and this sprint where there's no fat in it whatsoever. And I thought this was neither out nor something, really. I'm not saying I had a bad time with the match. It was as stupid, really, as I expected it to be. Stupid, entertaining. You couldn't help but get swept up in it at various moments, various spots, but it just felt like there's no such thing, given how hard he goes, as a phoned-in Ospreay match. But it felt like he was just doing a bit of a checklist here, a whistle-stop tour of what Ospreay does to generate a pretty hollow brand of excitement in a building. Move happens to him, hidden blade straight away. It's like, it felt formulaic by Ospreay standards, it felt formulaic. And if you contrast it with the Darby match, absolutely no comparison, really. Darby took that wicked bump for a reason to make that comeback feel really improbable but earned. And go on, Darby, get into it. None of that emotional weight in this at all. I would go as far as to say I was quite disappointed by it.
Yeah, it's tricky with Ospreay because you can't.
I was disappointed by my only mild exhilaration.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like you can't really, but you can at the same time.
You cannot call this good, like merely good or merely fine, when the execution of some of the stuff here is that incredible. And that's typical of a Will Ospreay. But I would classify this as sort of there's many people with lots of good reason and evidence that have Will Ospreay unanimously in every category, every single one now, the best in the world. I would classify this match as the textbook one that I would sit down with one of those people and explain why he's not mine. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes with Ospreay, it's so amazing that then you're questioning yourself and it's like, they're all right. Dave Meltzer star ratings are fair every single time and the people that think this are right to think it. What is it that makes me disagree at my core?
And it's this.
It's this match. This is probably especially in terms of AEW, this would be the one that I would probably pick of everything he's done where, there will be points in the match where you could scream with delight at some of the stuff you're watching, but are you feeling the match or are you just feeling the fireworks factories because who's not going to look at a firework and go, that's cool. I think that's a big explosion of colour and noise in the air. You know, it's I can't think of a better example than this one, truthfully, and it's barely a criticism. It's the difficulty of a very privileged job sitting here taking zero of those bumps that Will Ospreay takes, which is an actual difficulty and why you kind of have to respect it even when you don't love the match itself.
Yeah, even I was like, come on, sell something.
Yeah.
I didn't believe that they were in the fight of their life, but that's the Ospreay problem where everything feels like the fight of his life.
And just to talk about the post-match a little bit in relation to that.
The minor Ospreay problem.
Yeah, you kind of need the match to be, as Sidgwick just described, for the post-match to really scan. It didn't track a bit. Like, you know, when Ospreay had his TV debut against Fletcher, if he'd have cut that speech there, I mean, they're mates already, but if he'd have cut that speech there, you'd have been like, God, yeah, because Fletcher's been good, but you've never seen anything like that out of him, and Will Ospreay's just done this after just, like, debuting against Takeshita, the whole deal. This wasn't the match to cut that kind of promo, but it was necessary because it was in service of the Buddy story based on what we seemingly know about Malakai Black.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, I feel like I've asked this question of you two quite a lot. Is this the end for Malakai Black?
Sure hope so.
Sure hope so. You simple-minded fools. You never know what lurks in the shadows, and I'll reveal myself when I see fit. It's a shock on his dick, numbnuts. You know what I mean? Like,
you think you know me? You never did.
Because he's not making his grand exit. Now I believe he's leaving. Do you know what I mean? Like, because he tries to. It's just like, well, oh God, I don't want to get annoyed by this pathetic attempt at working me, but I can't help it. I get annoyed by Malakai Black. If in fact the contract's up, it's about to expire, you know, he's done ski, his departure from AEW is imminent. Was it early November he had that match with Adam Cole?
Feels like it,
and then he made his grand exit symbolically. And then everyone was like, all right, well, he must be off because he's literally saying goodbye without saying it. And then he popped on Instagram or wherever it was and saying, oh, God, what is it that fascinates you with my forbidden closet of mystery? And he was doing his whole, I'm not going anywhere. I'm actually getting kind of sick of people. I'm actually getting really kind of sick of people talking about it, you know? It's like, you know, you don't know anything. You do not know anything. Stop putting words in my mouth, and I'll see you later. Where have you been since? And it's like, oh, no, I'm going. I'm just having 2 months off.
Since when did waving mean goodbye?
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, I'm not leaving tomorrow, so what are you talking about? Oh, you're leaving in 2 months, and it's basically the same difference.
He's had 3 matches since that match. Yeah, you were right. It's
Yeah,
beginning
but
of November.
if he's gone, he's gone.
But they were all tag matches. It was all part of that. Yeah, he worked Collision, qualifier against FTR, following that on Dynamite, and then Full Gear, and then that's it.
He said more goodbyes than he's wrestled matches. Do you know what I mean? And he hasn't said it. And yeah, if people connected the dots, and then that's, you know, was it Sapp, Sean Ross Sapp, who Fightful Select, who's obviously, you know, read the tea leaves and went, oh, I should probably ask around because that felt like yet another goodbye. And then he's reported, you did the news today, he's reported that it looks like the end.
Yeah, it could well be. The contract ran till
That's
the end of
noises he's hearing.
Yeah, it ran till the end of 2024. There is an option for a 3-year
do
extension.
not exercise that option. If anything, it's the inverse. Sorry, I'm stepping on your dick there.
It's fine.
It's the inverse of that. Oh, they've released more wrestlers. I'm Tony Khan. I'm going to sign them all. They can't get everyone over on that WWE roster. If you let some of these expire, it's not as if Malakai Black's going to do anything really remotely for you at all in terms of moving the needle or anything like that, or really satisfying your core base at this point, even if he's not a needle mover because nobody is. Levesque will go, well, I'll sign him because I've always had a soft spot for him, and then you might reverse the momentum, give them the problem of having too many wrestlers, you know? We'll see.
That's inevitable. That's coming.
Yeah.
Like the extra hours of TV, the sort of whatever becomes the Netflix deal. That's like, it's not a red flag right now, but it's the reality.
It's how these things begin.
Totally, yeah.
The beginning of the end, one might say.
One might. One has got minor concerns the way this week's gone. Minor concern.
Hamflett, you mentioned star ratings there, and before I forget, in my leaky brain, I want to go to the Dave Whisperer. What do you think he's going on Omega Kid?
5.75.
Heard it here first. You're always very
5.75.
Any
4 and
terminology
3 on this?
For this, I reckon he'll go 4.5.
Yeah.
4.5.
Yeah, he will.
It's not a 4.5 star match. It's not as good as Bayley versus Sasha.
No.
What was it? What was the terminology? It's normally a word that he uses that you can gauge it by with regards to
Yeah,
Kid.
like if he says, I didn't actually listen to Observer Radio, but usually if he says phenomenal, that's the floor of 5. Usually I can just tell by the adjectives he uses where he's going with it. I did read an excerpt where he described it as Kenny Omega's performance is unbelievable. Basically make him the god of everything in AEW. So I think 5.75 for me.
Speaking of Wrestle Dynasty, we saw a video package of all the AEW talent competing at that, and then it was time for Private Party's Championship Celebration.
3 months ago, it feels like.
Out come Zay and
You
Quen.
defended it.
But they were celebrating Zay and Quen with some ladies. Their successful tag title defense on Collision, their first defense on Max. But before they can really get into this celebration, they're interrupted by the Hurt Syndicate, who are let through the velvet rope. MVP says they like to party too. He's the one who invented this kind of party. It's time to raise a toast to Private Party, and they do. But as they do that, Bobby Lashley says, and here's to the Hurt Syndicate taking those tag team titles. And Zay and Quen look like they've just had their Christmas presents pissed on. As MVP Lashley and Shelton Benjamin pour out their drinks and go, all right, time for Bobby Lashley to kill Mark Briscoe.
Absolutely perfect, this. 2 problems solved in one swooping decision. The tag team titles mean nothing. The Hurt Syndicate mean a lot. The Hurt Syndicate can elevate those tag titles and get them back on Dynamite, back to prominence. Great. Bobby Lashley was a luxury signing, really. I would not want to see him headlining AEW pay-per-views as this sort of like big bad, as this top heel. As great as the Hurt Syndicate is, I'd rather see Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada's, Will Ospreay's, Hangman Page's, Swerve Strickland at that top in
different
that bracket,
zone.
Different zone. MJF, that kind of great in-ring talent, which Bobby Lashley's got his own type of in-ring talent, but it's not the AEW pay-per-view headliner standard. Putting Bobby Lashley is this, that they can have those tag titles for ages. Ages and ages. FTR can fall. You can even create a new tag team to eventually topple them. This is in every which way. When I saw this happen, I was like, that is the move.
And the way they booked Shelton, it's basically like Road Warriors, Powers of Pain, Demolition.
Yeah.
It's sort of, they're better wrestlers, but everything has to be a contemporary version of an old thing now. That's what they're going to monster. They're going to monster Private Party. Like, if this was showing you that there's the potential for squash, actually book the squash. Like, that was what I was feeling watching this. It was like, just actually show that they're out their depth and this is where you belong. And
do the whole spot in the rematch.
Immediately excited by this. There is absolutely nothing wrong. The perfect comparison, as you mixage, is the Omega Okada quality of a potential AEW main event. There is nothing wrong with the Hurt Syndicate having the energy of being great wrestlers rather than actually being great wrestlers. It actually benefits because it differentiates them. And then when they're monstering other teams, you're not there going, oh, this isn't quite as exciting as Ospreay, but it can be a different kind of exciting. It'd be welcome to have that on you can visualize it on an AEW pay-per-view having range,
and then we got the match, which I enjoyed in as much as you can enjoy one of your favourites getting destroyed. Poor Mark Briscoe. Bobby Lashley starts the match, patting him on his head and holding the ropes open, saying, you can leave if you want. But that just obviously fires up Mark Briscoe.
Love that.
But Lashley, multiple flatliners, suplex in the corner, spinning sit-out dominator for a near fall, but Redneck Kung Fu allows Mark Briscoe to come back. But he jumps off the top into Bobby Lashley's arms, gets launched to the floor. There's a pounce to take us to a break from Bobby Lashley. When we come back, Mark Briscoe makes a comeback, but gets cut off. There's a tackle, making Briscoe take a really nasty-looking bump off the apron. He didn't realise, though, where Mark Briscoe had gone. I love this bit. Bobby Lashley realises he's under the ring apron or goes after him regardless, and Mark Briscoe pops him with the chair, and MVP explodes on commentary.
He's amazing.
DQ, what the hell's going on out there? Obviously, that allows Mark Briscoe to fire up. There's a springboard dive, corkscrew moonsault from the top to the outside. There's a sliding lariat and the froggy bow. But Bobby Lashley kicks out at one. Mark Briscoe can't believe it. And Bobby Lashley recovers. MVP loves this, obviously. He dodges a corner charge, hits the spear, big spine buster, hurt lock, submission victory, or just knockout. Referee just called it, basically, as he was in the hurt lock. And post-match, they attack Briscoe until Private Party run down with chairs to make the save.
Without being an outstanding match in and of itself, this is a great bit of business that, in the right way, I know this word carries a connotation, protected Mark Briscoe and made Bobby Lashley look like the monster who's going to potentially dominate the tag team title picture for the rest of the calendar year. I'm just so impressed by that bit of booking. Like, it just felt like there was a few things on the show where beforehand they've said there's problems within AEW. Let's set about resolving them in 2025. Let's get some solutions. The tag titles are dead. It's a real pathway to something of lasting, major, single success for Bobby Lashley. 2 in 1 with 1 stone. Excellent. This match, I thought Lashley, he doesn't carry that, oh my God, it's awful to watch someone suffer the plight of wrestling Bobby Lashley. But I thought his stuff looked good enough, like really, really good enough. And I thought this was an excellent bit of matchmaking and an excellent bit of agent and format and structure, whatever you want to call it, of Mark Briscoe has got the charm that would allow him to, as a babyface, cheat.
Yeah.
There are very few wrestlers. It's like, we'll get to another example very imminently of babyfaces sort of exploiting an advantage, and I just instantly think less of them. Mark Briscoe has the charm that allows you to enjoy him being a little bit of a mischievous, like, sort of heel in that moment just because he's trying to survive.
Rule bender, yes.
And he's just funny with it.
It's like impish rather than nasty, isn't it?
It was witty. It was a witty way around it. Yeah, really, really, really strong stuff, this.
Helped along by MVP, just losing his... What the hell are we doing here?
Yeah, the second Bobby Lashley match now, with the swerve match as well, where for me, I'm not exhilarated by the things Bobby Lashley is doing, but in a weird way, I'm exhilarated by, you've mentioned all the words I would have picked there, format, layout, and structure, in that it addresses this match. I'm going to get the textbook back out like I did for Ospreay, Buddy Murphy for a negative. This is for a positive. This, for me, is a textbook example of what we need to see more of, because it addresses my biggest, probably my biggest complaint of AEW's in-ring, is that you could actually drop two wrestlers in that wrestle the same match that you just watched because they're not being themselves. This was unapologetically Bobby Lashley versus Mark Briscoe. There was not a single second where you weren't watching those two wrestlers wrestle strategically the match they were trying to win against the other. And there needs to be more of that, which again isn't like, that's not sacrificing quality. It didn't here at all. It didn't have to compromise or anything. But it, like, and I thought they did this with Swerve, and I wasn't necessarily as excited by the Swerve match, but I really appreciated it, and I got that here as well. And that feels to me like that's what I'm getting out of the Hurt Syndicate at the moment. It's why I think I value them so much on the show, why they've been such an asset.
Then we got the Casino Gauntlet, of course, the winner facing Mox next week's Maximum Carnage for the world title. Obviously, Jay Watt won the spot to first come out.
They should stop doing that. That was my immediate thought when this match dragged rather than unfolded. Was what a waste of time.
Yeah, it's a prize and it isn't.
Yeah,
so it's kind of.
I mean, it's only a theoretical prize.
And is first person to face him, who's when his old theme hits, is going to hit like crack. I had a flashback to that watching something on X just a few days ago, and then when he came out here, I was happy to see Hangman Page, but I was a bit like, I want the galloping horse and all that. But yeah, Hangman Page is the second person out. Joy Jack chop the hell out of each other. Page wants a buckshot, but flips into a Blade Runner. Page dodges, tries for the Deadeye, but White brought him up in the ropes, superplex. Wheeler Utah's out next. Oh no!
Oh my god! What an anti-pop! Sorry, I know I'm stepping.
No. There's going to be a lot of people, so jump in.
If you think of how much has been invested into Wheeler Yuta, there was a grapple who described the Blackpool Combat Club as the most expensive push ever. Really, when
two main event. Well, yeah, 2.5 main eventers to get Wheeler Yuta over.
Yeah, and to result in this anti-pop where no one's even like, crafty. Because I know he's not like this big main event game changer, Wheeler Yuta. But you meant to surely think, that little bastard. You're going to ruin it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, Wheeler Yuta. I mean, he's talented.
I'd rather it was Pac.
Yeah. I mean, he's talented, Wheeler Yuta, but it just feels like a huge waste of time.
He comes out. I like the fact he's like, I'm coming here. I come through the crowd. I Blade Runner straight away.
That didn't even scan as like a bit of comedy, though, did it? That was what they were going for, like a bit of deadpan, and it didn't work.
Did you notice, not for the first time, like the funniest one was like Jim Ross going to Excalibur. What is it a Moxley even wants? Silence. Yeah. Like, but there was an element of that here, wasn't there? Like, he wins it, and then Moxley doesn't have to give him a title match, if anything. It's like, just maybe don't steer away from that. Steer away from asking that question because we're all asking it. But if the commentators do, that validates us being like, I found a new hole in this, like in this Grand Canyon of a story.
Page breaks up the count from the Blade Runner, takes out both White and Yuta with springboard lariats. And I need your help with this one, Sidge. The fourth entrance, we hear, whose house? And everyone's like, oh my God, Hangman Page is stood in the ring, Swerve's music's playing, the graphics up there. Whose house? Here we go. And then you hear Ricochet's voice say, it's my house, bitch. And everyone's like,
oh my God.
Deft dovetailing booking there.
I thought so.
Oh my God. This was what I associate with AEW, just that extra level of thought to cover so many different bases in one resourceful moment that was a popper in and of itself. But the Hangman reaction of like, he's coming out, and then no, he's actually got business with somebody else, and it's this bell end, and he's hilarious. I couldn't have loved this little moment more.
This is what you create legacy rivalries for, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the stuff like this, the stuff you always want to be able to revisit for somebody else's benefit.
Yeah.
And everybody wins. Everybody gets something out of this.
Just it's my house, bitch. Ricochet.
Love the idea of Ricochet. I've got this really cool idea. I'm going to go to a recording studio and can you remix that? Yeah. I know it's one of those things where it's like in your head it seems ridiculous that the wrestler would want to say, come to my lair or my house. The video cameras, it's like such a stretch. You can imagine this version of Ricochet going to all of these lengths just to get a little bit under the skin of Swerve.
And asking the producers. That sounds cool, right?
Yeah.
Let me do it again. My house, bitch.
How many takes?
Yeah.
He sold it really well walking in the ring. So you get immediately in Ricochet's head. You're watching him like pull this almost like confused face. Like as a heel now, he's confused that he's getting booed, as the character should be. But he doesn't know nor care about this Hangman Page Swerve Strickland feud. He's done it to have a go at Swerve Strickland, and now the fans are like feeling ripped off from, as you said, not in a bad way, ripped off in the moment that they've just lost what they thought they were going to get in this moment.
But also at the same time reassured of they haven't forgotten about it and they will go back to it at some
Ricochet's
point.
walking in the ring like, what did I do? Like I'm just winding up Swerve Strickland. What else? What other chips have I pissed on here? Like he's just great with his facials. Like
Boo me.
yeah.
Anyway, he runs wild as we
banger.
we go to a break. We come back, and Adam Cole's out next. Does the super kicks, hits his bows.
Tell you what, there was a spot
There's an
here.
egregious flying nothing in the Panama Sunrise looked like
I was just going to say, right, fair play to Ricochet on the Panama Sunrise because he was doing the like stumbling drunk thing where he's got like, and he, like, I'm talking the last second he put his head into position, and I was like, I can see what Adam Cole's setting up, and you need to get there faster, and he still did it, and you're like, man, he can do things with his body, that's amazing. But like the moonsault one from NXT isn't all, the takeover match isn't all time.
Yeah.
Do that again.
Yeah.
The jumping standstill thing, it's too lame, wasn't it?
pathetic.
Like
absolutely pathetic.
What
What
was
were you
a
trying to
90-degree
do?
angle when he got super kicked, and it's just like, dude, the moonsault one. Everybody loved that, and if you drop that as a surprise in the middle of a frigging battle royal of all things, it's amazing.
What was he trying to do? That's what I want to know. At least look. Flying axe handle attempt.
Yeah.
Would it kill you?
That gets 2 count though, and then TNT champion Daniel Garcia's out at 6, and he stacks Cole, White, and Page in the corner for all the punches. Doesn't rub his dick in their face, but he does hit them with 10 punches. And then we hear power. Powerhouse Hobbs comes out.
Can I just jump in here really quickly? It's a very me thing, this, I know, but I think it reflects something else about this mid-card and maybe elements why this match didn't work. Powerhouse Hobbs was the first wrestler to enter this match. I think number 7. Might have been number 8. Number 7?
7 is correct, yes.
7. That wasn't wearing black gear.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking at this, and it's like it's already like a sludgy mid-card, and there's some big reactions for some big stars in this, but nobody really, other than Ricochet and Hangman Page, is as over as they should be in this collection of wrestlers.
It felt like black and gold battle royal there.
Yeah, massively. Well, and it was black and red because the secondary colour was red on 3/4 of them as well. And I really was just like, have words with each other.
Yeah.
Make this look more diverse, make it look more, and then Powerhouse Hobbs was incredible. And then, but then we're back to it because it's like, oh, here comes Kyle and Roddy, and they're in the black trunks. And it's sort of like, and and then it's like you've got Archer in the, sorry for jumping ahead, in the velour blue.
Spoilers.
In the velour blue, and it's like, the monsters are more interesting than all of these smaller guys in the black and red. Yeah. Like there was something to that. I know I like attire, but at the same time, it's like, have chats, stand out in any way you can at the moment. Danny Garcia, I was scrolling Twitter and I saw a clip of his match with Mark Briscoe from Collision, and I went to watch the whole thing because he was in bright, shiny red and yellow. I was like, I forgot he was even the TNT champion, let alone that he sometimes dresses fun. Like, just, you can be Red Death and, like, still be a bit interesting to look at.
May I make a suggestion, AEW roster? Rick Martel, SummerSlam 1989. Was it the lilac? The lavender?
It was the powder blue.
Oh, my, yeah, the powder blue.
Because he started the mullet at the time, didn't he? And then he switched to purple, and then he switched to pink. He was always keeping you guessing.
Yeah.
Oh, Ricky Martel.
Do you not think they were all just really excited about Raw on Netflix?
Black and red.
Black and red.
All these auditioning.
All these ex-WWE guys going, look, I can still do it.
Never know, could be watching. It's that, you remember that graphic that somebody made of like sort of indie Triple H, Scottish Triple H, Canadian Triple H.
Yeah.
They're all just like beards and black guys. I like that guy. I can't put my finger on what I like about him, but I like him.
Yeah, Powerhouse Hobbs comes out and destroys everyone, basically. Hobbs launches Page across the ring. Is in control as we go to a break. When we come back, Ricochet.
Amazing.
Guess it's my time to beat up Powerhouse. I'm dead. Roderick Strong comes out at 8, loads of backbreakers, and Ricochet finds himself beaten down by Cole Strong and Garcia. And then everyone starts hitting big moves. White hits Ricochet with a sleeper suplex, wants the Blade Runner, but Yuta hoys him in the cock with a low blow. And Lance Archer comes out at 9. diving Utah just gets choke slammed on the apron. Loads of more choke slams from Lance Archer, and they have a moment where I think the game is how far can you throw Ricochet?
Amazing.
Lance
That
Archer
was
and-
a really good moment in an otherwise drab crap.
There was the bit before this as well
Gauntlet.
where like it's always a great spot. You feel it when like he choke slams. I think it was Strong onto Adam Cole, and you could see Adam Cole going like and it was like he could have got you there, mate.
Yeah.
Like he's a big fella. He definitely could have hit you. You're talking inches, but he just felt, wrestlers just felt the need to move, but you couldn't not see him do the little shuffle, could you?
Kyle O'Reilly's out at 10. He beats up Utah.
I mean, I'm so bored.
So boring, man.
Yeah.
At least we didn't get
You
to
did
Kingdom. Because he's in a conglomeration again, apparently.
Yes.
Make your mind up. You make these videos. You should know what you're doing.
Interesting note of Roderick Strong, Adam Cole, and Kyle O'Reilly were a team prize. I'm not sure if that's
They
been
still
made.
are, aren't they?
I'm not sure if that's been made.
They did it. I wish I could remember what he said. There was like a dead man, old school moment where one of them, I think it was O'Reilly and Strong, did like a double team spot in the corner, and like one of them was like, just like the old days. I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that. You were over.
Go away. Jeff Jarrett's out at 11.
Yeah.
And then Utah attacks him on the stage and brawls to the back.
Ended well.
Hobbs runs through, I think, Archer and Garcia. Tries for a blackout on Hobbs. Does Archer. But he sends Archer to the outside. O'Reilly fires off a load of kicks, but runs into a huge spinebuster from Powerhouse Hobbs, who gets the 1-2-3. Post-match, he gets congratulated by Renee Paquette, who says, look, let's shoot for a second. Mox is the reason I came to AEW, but next week I'm going to shock the world and make Moxley my bitch.
Oh my
I
god.
love that line and the delivery, that booming delivery of bitch.
And acting is reacting, and we always put her over. Renee Paquette is a gift to this
Yeah,
company.
yeah.
How would you measure that when we all know the deal?
Yeah.
And she nailed it. You kind of do look when
And
someone's
her
dressing
face
Tom
later on
Moxley.
with Tony Storm. Huh?
Yeah, she's great.
Anything you want to say? I know we've sort of broken it up by going through it.
Yeah.
Powerhouse Hobbs, we didn't mention him actually yesterday.
Yeah, I've got a few things. I interjected throughout the recap, sorry. This was boring in a lot of ways. It ruined the magic of, like, that's the next time they do the gauntlet. I'm thinking, the last one sucked. Let's hope they can go back to it. That's not ideal.
Let's forget that. Let's just think it was the last one was all in.
That's next week, because it's the first women's
yeah.
one.
Yeah,
That'll have a lot
yeah.
of spice to it. I think that's
Hopefully.
good. Yeah.
Let's hope so. I like Powerhouse Hobbs getting the win because we know how he got injured. It feels like Moxley believes in him. It feels like that match was cursed. Just another go-round seems fair. Another go-round seems fair.
I like their law. I remember
I
that.
like
in
their
2020.
law. That last match, it was at Daly's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't trending in a great direction beforehand, but then Moxley was a bit in a mood. What else has changed, I guess, since then? But hopefully Moxley wants to make it happen. And
John Moodsley.
Yeah, and hopefully Powerhouse Hobbs can level up. So it deserves another go around that, I think. Undisputed Kingdom, I would say flatlined my interest in this match, like flatlined it. I would, if I'm Tony Khan, bench the lot of them for 3 months. And then if you get any ideas, what do they bring? They just drag down everything.
It was the most Rumble vibes I've got from a Casino Gauntlet. Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
like
That's
Adam
not a
Cole.
compliment.
Adam Cole's barely over. It feels like he's in his Heroes of Wrestling era. It feels like he got AEW never happened. It feels like he had the failed main roster run, and now he's slumming it in TNA, and he's not over anymore. It's sad to watch. It is sad to watch. I don't, especially when you know how good of an egg he's meant to be. I do not want to feel sad and bored. Adam Cole, Prime Adam Cole, is both apparently the best guy in wrestling and the coolest guy in wrestling. The exact opposite feelings I want to watch are sad and bored. Like where I resent him almost for being there. Roderick Strong can always be a bland for me. I know he's a ball nose, sicko wrestler. He can go either way for me. Sometimes I look like, he kicks ass. I love Roddy. Other times I'm just bored. Kyle O'Reilly, again, he's been through hell. You feel like a dick saying I'm bored of you as well, mate, but I am. That whole deal dragged down because they're not over. It feels like they just don't belong. They haven't really earned any of these big emotional peaks they've gone on as a group. There were like two of them were in the Devil's masked men. They were Satan. Yeah. This time last year, so it's hard to get into them as baby faces. That
What are you saying?
that theme, we're not the only ones to point out, is a total mood killer. Kingdom. Like, maybe
as it was designed to be when they were the Devil's Masked Men.
Yeah.
Not your new babyface friends.
everyone you love, back together again. Kingdom. All over Twitter, everyone had that. This is an awful babyface theme.
Kyle O'Reilly gonna do his like that. It's like him but sad.
It feels like he's in My Bloody Valentine, just looking at his effects pedals like Kingdom. That doesn't rouse me into action and cheering. Oh my God. And what's worse, other than the sheer awful vibe surrounding the act, is because they're baby faces, I think, at various points were just ganging up on one heel. It's like, I hate you.
Oh, yes.
I want you to
mentioned
go
that
away.
earlier.
But like they were just going after, at one point there was like 2 or 3 of them on Ricochet or whatever. I can't even freaking remember. It was so bland. But there were various moments where they were teaming together against one heel. And it's like, I hate you. I want you to go away. This is very, very, very sad and boring. It's the perfect theme, really. I mean, that's not ideal. It's not remotely ideal, but it is the perfect theme. It's as perfect as the Ultimate Warrior's theme was for the Warrior, that the Undertaker's theme was for the Undertaker, and now it's a perfect harmony between act and theme. Who's out next? Oh, Kingdom. Awful. I'm sad.
What this stuck out to me was that we were all really excited about this yesterday, as I think most people were. The Casino Gauntlet is held up, as it should be, from the rollouts in 2024. But what it was doing in 2024 was obscuring the mistakes AEW had made with its mid-card, the lack of a hierarchy, too many
Here's
belts.
Commander. Here's Ospreay.
Yeah, it was like we do have a good mid-card, in fact, because how can this match be awesome if we don't?
Yeah.
This
Laid everything
this
bare.
exposed it. And I don't know quite how that happened, but maybe...
Bad booking.
Yeah, like... Maybe the roster,
Oh, it was terrible booking.
because if you McGuinness is a bad example now because we've had the surprise and they doled it out with the best place for it.
Yeah.
But if there was something like that, let's say like using Jarrett, right? Let's say he hadn't been on TV for 6 months and then they bring him out in Nashville.
Yes.
And you get that same thing. Jeff's back. Oh my God. Then just seeing those unover wrestlers interacting with Jeff Jarrett might make them feel more over and suddenly get away with it. This didn't have any wrestlers like that. This is like, I'm not mad into you most weeks and you're here again and you're still out there. And I wasn't excited for the next wrestler to come out because I was kind of waiting for somebody to save it. And as the match wore on, you were like, there's nobody. There's no surprises. The stakes didn't help it because like we said yesterday, you're witnessing the crowning of a loser. The person is not beating John Moxley. So that didn't help.
Hobbs' best choice for that, though.
Leave this well alone. Yeah. But leave this stipulation well alone for a bit. For the men, at least, unless you. Well, the women's should be loads better because, like the triple threat on the show, it's mostly the names.
And how many women per week do we get to see in a ring?
I know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be like quadruple what we normally get.
Yeah. Like,
I'm still excited for next week. I would save it for as an all-in staple, me.
Yeah, but you know they won't, and almost the randomness is supposed to be part of the charm, isn't it? Like this week, because that's what this match is: random intervals, random weeks, random whatever. But it was a bit sad. This you're supposed to hide the negatives and extenuate the positives, and this was the opposite.
Still like our pitch for that when they used to do the cards, the suits. We came up with a big roulette wheel idea.
You did. I like it though, but it is yours.
I feel like it was a Pando team effort.
it?
Maybe.
I've repressed all that. I've tried to anyway.
There's a video package highlighting Christian Cage and Hook. That happens next week at Maximum Carnage. And I should
I don't
mention...
care about that either.
No.
The video package felt like an extension of the Casino Gauntlet. It's like some more mid-carders I'm not interested in that are wearing black.
Hook is doing active damage to people who I like at this point, like Christian Cage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I should mention, as Hobbs celebrating walked up the ramp, Jarrett was there to shake his hand before heading to the ring because next, Ian Riccaboni's in the ring with Jeff Jarrett, talking about how disappointed he couldn't win a title shot in Tennessee. And Jarrett himself questions whether the last Outlaw has what it takes to become AEW World Champion, but he's cut off by the music of MJF, who calls Ian Riccaboni a Bible-thumping prick and tells him to leave.
Bible thumper me.
And he introduces himself, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF, to Jeff Jarrett. He says he wants the Triple B back. World title picture is very crowded right now. And it's Jeff Jarrett's fault that Powerhouse Hobbs won tonight because he got beat up by Wheeler Yuta. But he runs through some of the challengers, Page, Cage, Cope. But one man can do this. One man who's beaten the icons, a 35-year veteran. A man who's beaten Hall of Famers, Jeff Jarrett. I mean, I had to Google that because I'm not a dinosaur. My dad was a fan of you when he was a kid, I think he said. But he says, hey, you haven't really been honest with everyone, Jeff. This contract you signed, this last contract, is only for 1 year. And that's kind of embarrassing because you don't want to retire yet, but professional wrestling thinks that's all you've got left. He's not here to piss him off, Double J, but he's here to help him. Because without my help...
Offensive accent from MJF there. Who would talk about that like them?
He wasn't showing much respect for the business of Nashville, Tennessee.
No, sir, no disrespect. Powerful, disrespectful.
Speaking of the dead man, do you think the dead marks backstage like flipping tables because he had to go at Wheeler? They ruins the integrity of the f***ing Death Riders. Whatever he does now, I don't know. A word, Max.
MJF says, without my help, you can't win a match. But all I want is one tiny favor. When I help you procure the Triple B, I want the first title shot. Want to make a deal with little old me? Offers a handshake. And obviously Jarrett just takes the mic. Says, look, yeah, longest reigning AEW World Champion of all time. But here in Music City, we call that a one-hit wonder. He gets a one-hit wonder chant. He knows, Jeff does, the road he has to go down. He's been at rock bottom before, but it'll allow him to fight his way back to the top of the mountain. MJF had the chance to enter the Gauntlet tonight, but he opted to scheme to get a shot instead. He's going to make the most, Jeff is, of 2025. He doesn't need MJF. He's not buying what he's selling, and he calls MJF an entitled prick and leaves him.
When you are initially excited about a storyline development, you are more inclined to extend a bit of latitude towards it and fill in any sort of logic holes because you want to be excited about the thing. I'm excited about this thing.
Yes.
So there's one potential plot hole of why would MJF back Jeff Jarrett of all people. In my head, he might be thinking Jeff's fighting with the most emotion, with the most on the line for personal pride. He is absolutely nailed on to have that transitional title reign. I'm going to get him after he's fought with everything to do the impossible dream of winning the AEW World title. And if I can get him to give me that title match afterwards, he'll have fought with all he's had, and he's just instantly, like, putty for me.
I think it's even more simplistic than that. I can't beat John Moxley, but I can help Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, but why Jeff
him.
Jarrett rather than somebody else?
Because he's the easiest guy to beat afterwards. That's when it becomes the easiest. Like he could,
and he's also the easiest man to convince, arguably, because he's naming Page. You're not going to negotiate with him. Yeah. Cage, come on, and Cope, who will.
It's the reveal of MJF's been doing the digging around the paperwork and found that Jarrett has a weak spot, which is this 1 year deal.
Yeah.
So like with the clock on him and the fact that he's an old man who will have to half kill himself to beat Moxley, even with MJF cheating and hitting him with a diamond ring or whatever. It's like, well, who up and down this roster like would be not only the easiest to manipulate, but the easiest to beat.
Yeah.
Easy, double easy when they're literally addressing the fact that he could have entered the Gauntlet.
Yeah.
This is the MJF I love.
Yeah.
Don't work Dynamite.
Yeah.
Do the least to get the most.
Yeah.
This was... Yeah.
This felt restorative for MJF. This felt like a deliberate attempt to let's make MJF again. My big takeaway on MJF after two very divisive years, 2023 and 2024, is I've settled on, it's a compliment in a way, in a big way. The man is far too talented for his own good. Like a lot of professional wrestlers, he does have that thin skin. Far too talented for his own good, to the point of just this absurd flex where it's like, not only can I actually wrestle and go, when really someone like MJF, and he's doing it now, should be thinking, I shouldn't have to wrestle, I'm a heel, that should be my gimmick and all the rest of it. So, I'll just do 5.75 stars with Will Ospreay and work one of the best Will Ospreay matches or one of the longest and most athletically impressive Will Ospreay matches, because I can. It's like, it's kind of unbelievable how you can just do that as a side quest.
Yeah, just turn it on,
Unbelievable. I don't think it was the best idea for that particular wrestler, but I watched that match with Ospreay and thought, not the match that I want to see out of MJF have with Ospreay, but unbelievable that he can just do that.
Iron Man with Danielson for me.
Yeah.
That's insane, really.
No, I like that more as an earned thing rather than the Ospreay thing.
But the sheer quality of it.
the sheer quality of it.
Like,
But I still think he wrestled that match more like MJF than he did the Ospreay one, you know? Do you know what I'm getting at with all of this?
Yeah.
This felt like MJF, maybe a period of introspection has been had. And he's thought, right, well, who can I work with next? How can I really be MJF again? Because there's been a lot of dissenting voices saying that, you know, he's past it or he's not as good as the initial promise of, and like that the CM Punk feud, and that he's fallen off or whatever. I love him going with Jeff Jarrett because you can't have the Ospreay match with Jeff Jarrett, but you can be MJF against Jeff Jarrett. And I'm really, really looking forward to their eventual match. In terms of this initial interaction on the mic, it was good and fine and promising as opposed to blow away, but what do we associate with the first things that the best MJF character did? Oh, so this is where we're going. That's the first week. This is where
we're
we're
going to
going.
be a prick to too much of a prick to Jarrett because he's trying to convince him.
Exactly. So now I think you'll have one more go around of, come on, we can do this together, blah, blah, blah. And at the next point, 2 or 3 or 4 weeks from now, when it's a firm no, and he's maybe beat Jarrett up to get it out of his system, and then he wants to really turn the screws and be a dick to him, that's when he'll mention Jeff Jarrett's history with...
Yeah. And
This
this
is
is good
put it this way
booking
with
because
Jarrett.
Jarrett's opened the door for those that don't know. He's alluded to a rock bottom without outright saying
Yeah.
addictions and struggles, but the door has been opened kind of for the first time since he's been in AEW.
You know how I feel about MJF, and when he mentioned Mox, I was like, oh no, don't get sucked into that terrible vortex. This, like you say, the moment when you two both mentioned it yesterday about how whenever they do like so and so is going to speak and someone else is going to speak, how often they go together, and I was really
You got the wrong two?
Yeah.
But the moment MJF came out, I was like, yes, here we go. Like you say, just immediately. And like you say, after this, because he's not going to say all the terrible stuff that he's going to say and do. One thought of mine was, is he going to try and seduce Karen Jarrett?
I don't know.
Like,
I thought he was going to, I think next
because
week.
he's going to do terrible things. But
Well,
I've just realised the interaction that Karen Jarrett, even if it's not that, whatever it's going to be
Yes.
is going to be television gold.
they're going to be in the ring and he's going to say, hey, I know you, Karen Angle.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think next week he's going to present him with a Burberry guitar. My
Oh.
offer wasn't good enough.
Oh my God.
I'll give you this. And then at some point that's getting wrapped over one of their heads. Yeah. Like this is like overflowing with potential.
Yeah,
this one.
it is.
Overflowing with it.
This feels like MJF doing MJF things.
I also love how he had such like a mocking, derisory tone in the double J, J-double-F from a man that announces himself as
MJF.
Like that's kind of inspired as well. Not the first time MJF's done the strut, is it, Sidge?
No.
Yeah. Dropped on at Double or Nothing and looked in the direction of two people amidst the crowd of thousands, and we decided it was for us.
It was for us.
He did a strut, he did a Rick Rude thrust, and then he did a leg side, and it was right at us.
There's lots of other people there, but it was for us.
We were the hard camera in that moment.
Following this, we see footage of the Death Riders throwing Darby Allin down some stairs.
From like 4 angles, where like when it shot the one from the front, there was no cameraman underneath the stairs. It's like, how'd you get that shot? It's like, oh, you tape Darby Allin getting thrown down the stairs 3 times to get beauty shots of it. Moxley's like, we're going to do a really well-produced ass kicking tonight.
What's wrong with them?
Hidden cameras.
I remain fascinated by the exact specific nature of this failure. Surely Mox with his death jitsu, I know I said this yesterday, but surely with his death jitsu vision and wrestling should be real and how much he loves blood sport, why is he doing more American TV? Like, it's so American TV what he's doing, and it's like, you must know this sucks, right? Or do you just want the belt and we'll go with whatever?
WWJBD. What would Josh Barnett do?
Yeah.
It's none of this.
Yeah.
None of it like it, but like John Moxley loves.
And the thing is, like, from what you know of the people who like Moxley and the people who would sort of subscribe to the idea of what does John Moxley's saving AEW look like, they don't want it to be this either.
Yeah.
Thought we knew him. Guess we never did. Speaking of which, Cope comes out to address John Moxley.
I mean, I still kind of don't like him.
His voice, I couldn't get over it. I was
He's another icky, isn't he?
yeah.
One step away from the big vein, wasn't he?
Yeah.
This made me really sad.
Talked about Mox whilst he was gone, taking out Bryan Danielson, killing Darby. We haven't seen him since. No surprise, really.
Team ICK.
Very nice. Yes.
He can allow you killing Bryan Danielson and Darby Allin, though, apparently, but going after FTR, whoa. They're my friends.
I got him.
Big mistake.
Yeah.
He says, no one's fought through what I've fought through just to be standing in this ring, and I'll die on that hill. I'm a different animal than you faced before. I broke my neck in a match against Eddie Guerrero, but I kept going for 20 minutes, and I won that match. I broke my leg in a barbed wire cage match against Malakai Black, but I got up and I won that match.
A part of us all. A part of us all. A part of us all.
I know you're one of the toughest in the game, but what can you do to me that hasn't been done before? And obviously, oh God, here comes the Death Riders.
Make him drink bleach.
That was literally exactly what I thought when I was watching this. Just drink bleach.
I've seen all of his career. Never drank bleach.
Come Moxley with the rest of the bloody Death Riders and
End it.
Could you ever imagine, not just Moxley, which we always say, 2020, lifesaver, game changer, the whole deal. He's taken that theme off us. He's taken the Moxley, the New Japan Moxley, the 2019
Maybe
theme.
he's saving it for maybe if I can come back for real this time, I can go back to that.
But when the Death Riders come out, that was the 2019 G1, mate. What are you doing?
but before Death Riders can
Hearing
get
Austin's theme in 2002 when he's pissing nuclear waste on Arn Anderson.
What in the fucking Austin? Austin, the Disturbed one. Stand up and then the fucking you up and then I'm Austin and then the fucking you up.
Are you the Alliance? Because I'm fucking you up. I wrestle for WCW now.
Wait till next week and I'm back with the
I'm not selling anything. I can't even work now. I've got a quad bike.
I want to give a quick shout.
Stand up. There's people on fucking Reddit. I should have kept that theme. It was the best one. You 2001 sucked, you idiot.
It was rough for a bit, wasn't
You
it?
were a fucking idiot. Get off Reddit.
I swear, I was just
I
absolute pounded.
Jeremy Bowers was the name we were reaching for yesterday, who does the counter, and he said it's been 3 days and Sidge is on 69 swears. Nice, by the way.
We're just excited to be back. We're just excited to be back. You kind of, you know, Dudley's not a gimmick. We're fathers. We're all in our 30s fact, and we're fathers. You cannot do this. Here, sit down, watch Disturbed. I'm going to swear along with it.
This is the last year that you're going to be.
We're all in our 30s, though.
Fact.
Oh yeah, we'll all grow
This
up.
is it.
Yeah.
This is the end.
FTR attack before FTR attack before Death Riders.
96, 97, 98, maybe the greatest of all time, single greatest all rounder, arguably the most important person in the
Yeah, we trivialized him. Yeah.
2002 to 2022, some significant problems. Actually, no, 2018, when he shouted at Mike Rome. I was like, oh, the Rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor Mike Rome. He's just doing his job.
I drew money. Nobody knows what that means anymore. Steve.
FTR attack the Death Riders before they can get to the ring, but Cope and Mox go at it. Marina Shafir's there. She slides the briefcase in. Cope grabs her, but obviously doesn't do anything. Pac appears and attacks.
Daddy Magic. Hit her! Feels weird. He was really excited.
No. He gets hopped up on it, doesn't he?
Napped up on goofballs.
Pac attacks, though, with the briefcase, and that allows Mox to put the Bulldog choke on Cope, choke him out.
Just go away.
And they're going to bag him, but Powerhouse Hobbs comes out to make the save, and Death
good.
Riders back off.
Yeah, fine. I will say, right, Edge's delivery still gives me the ick. It has done for about 4 years at this point, ever since he came back. The Rumble was nice. It was like, oh, Edge! And then he starts talking about grit. I'm like, oh, God, this is awful. And it never really improved from there. I at least like this version of Cope talking about what he can endure rather than what he can dole out. Because I tweeted about this because I was just so upset with Cope and his promos and just the idea that it's Himdall Revolution. Say, oh, God, the next 3 months are rubbish. Then aren't they great? Anyway, but like, he was going, you think you're about it's like he's doing it, so like, look, I'm just going to talk about how big my dick is. But he's like, he was addressing Moxley in a pre-tape promo, and he goes, I'm just as sick as you, Mox. Actually, no, I'm sicker. It's like, I'm not being funny, Edge. Yeah, the flaming table. And the TLC match is no joke, but beyond the TLCs and the one fire spot at Mania, you basically just had the same career with like, oh, we'll do a TLC match, oh, we'll do a Hell in a Cell match. Guess what? Because they were mandated on the calendar every year, you've had the same career as everybody else. Like, Jon Moxley's done some stuff with like, what do they call those things on his head?
Oh, the skewers.
Oh,
the
God.
skewers.
Oh, yeah.
He's a bit more hardcore than
Bloodsport, G1, like physical endurance tests that are different.
Yeah, like way more like disturbing plunder. Like, he's a bit sicker than you, Cole, but I'm sicker than you. It's like, no, you're not. And as I tweeted, it's like, what are you, Mr. Pogo? Do you know what I mean? Like, did I miss?
Mr. Pogo.
Did I miss Cope's big Japan deathmatch title run or something? The way he gans on. The way he goes on, it's like, I'm so sick. And I was seeing loads of stuff, and I'm a nasty prick. and
I've been on the internet, John.
And I'm so violent, and I'm a sick guy. And he brought in, remember when he brought Spike?
Yeah.
To the Christian Cage. I'm just a sick guy, and I'm the most violent guy, and I'm Jack Reacher, and all of this. I'm the hardest guy, and I've got sick fantasies.
God, Ricky Stark's a midget.
Yeah, which is, people should have said that was actually worse than it was. 2 levels, you kind of, anyway, forget that. I tried to. It's like, who does this guy think he is, really? Who does this guy think he is? And finally, maybe he's realized, people don't take me seriously as that kind of dude. So I can just talk about the fact that he's broken his neck and he's had really horrible neck injuries, but he's still fighting. That's something I can buy with this dude. So I was happy with the content of the promo, but the delivery remains the delivery. Just reform Edge and Christian and be funny at this point.
Yes.
Please, just reform Edge and Christian and be funny, and you can fall to the Hurt Syndicate.
They C and CC. Can't be E and C, they can be C and CC.
In this yet another the Death Riders are kicking ass angle, get the heat on the, and Jon Moxley needs his heat. I'm bored of all of this.
I think if he's saying I'm sicker than you, Mox should just get a bigger chair.
Like the Big Show's one.
No, you think you had a big throne when you were in Judgment Day? I've got an even bigger chair now for the Death Riders. Oh, I'll show you. You think you got me beating my game? I've got a big chair, mate.
Sits in the back of a pickup truck with a driving from town to town across deserts. The East Coast, John.
Yeah, no.
We're in the desert.
He's the Undertaker.
The damn marks.
Anything else you want to say about this?
No. It's just, I will, to put a positive spin on one of Sidge's worries, I just do not think this makes Revolution. I think we're Dunsky Jones out here with Grand Slam.
Nah. Jay White gets Grand Slam.
Bet.
Revolution. Yeah, I'll take that.
It's Cope versus Mox.
I don't think Cope and Mox for the belt at Revolution.
Oh, yeah.
Power play.
You bend to my whim.
There's a pasty kicking around. You asked me to remind you of this.
I'm still owed one from you.
Oh, yeah?
From Tony D beating Obafemi.
Of course.
You could do double or quits for when they have the rematch for all the gold.
I'm all right. I'll take it now. Thank you very much.
What's your favourite?
What, pasty? Partial to a chicken bake recently.
All right. I might sort you out tomorrow.
Ooh, a little Friday treat.
Wilbourn, are you a cheese and onion pasty guy?
I'm not.
Nah, me neither.
I just feel like it's you. Yeah, like you love your cheese, don't you? So like cheese loving.
You love your cheese,
You do though, don't you?
Yeah,
I'll have
right.
a 4 cheese sandwich, please.
Corned beef for me.
Yeah.
Corned beef pasty.
Only very recently got into the katsu chicken ones as well. They're really nice. They've got the gimmick on top. I don't like the festive bake, you see.
Because nice guy.
Then
It's related to the thing you hate, Christmas.
No, if you could put,
Christmas, international football tournament.
Well, I'll tell you something I do like about Christmas. You know, when those markets,
food.
those overpriced markets that spring up that are a waste of money and lie to you about a good time. I
had a mulled rum and cider after I went ice skating, and it was wonderful.
It's the worst things you could name.
Yeah.
I'm about to, yeah.
The does when they just put an entire Sunday dinner in a Yorkshire pudding.
Oh, yeah.
Eat that like a sandwich. I'm like, well, that's kind of like the put stuff in bread of the Sunday roast, so I'm into that. But the festive bake does that, and then it's like, and here's the cranberry sauce. And it's like, that's a condiment, mate. Like, put the components of the dinner in, but like, nobody, like, cranberry sauce or mint sauce or whatever for roast, go on the site. People can choose that.
Yes.
But Greg's just hide it in there, and it's ruins the festive bake.
I don't like a festive bake, really. Yeah. I don't like them.
I miss the steak and cheese rolls so much.
Oh, yeah, they were good.
Burn your mouth and you just eat it anyway. Like a cheap oven pizza.
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Mariah May's backstage, plugging the women's casino gauntlet, of course, next week, and tells all the women to involve to dance like marionettes before she cuts their strings and burns them alive.
I don't really take her seriously as a sinister character.
I don't get it.
I don't get
What's
it.
the tone?
I don't like it.
Comedic? Is it like so over the top to be comedic, or is she like?
I think it's a face value situation, and I don't buy it.
No.
She had like a real comedic flair. She had that really sort of nasty, she's going to turn at some point quality. And now she's like, I don't rate the character in its current incarnation.
If we're supposed to receive everything she said as a shoot, she should be in the Death Riders.
I know.
I forgot she was in this because Holly Cameron screams her way into shot next, saying, how about we give the fans an appetizer on Collision? And he's like, you're not getting a title shot. Cameron says, fine. Hot girl graps. And Mariah May, says she's going to rip Holly Cameron's head off. Cameron says, that's all right, but you're going to feel the wrath.
She doesn't. She goes, you're going to feel the wrath.
Yeah,
she's like scared of her at the same time. That's quite
love
cute.
Holly Cameron, mate.
Yeah. You love Holly Cameron, don't you?
Big fan. But we are, just check my notes here, Sidge, very nearly at the main event of the evening, which means now time for the one women's match on this show.
Yeah.
With three of our favourites, Toni Storm, Willow Nightingale, and of course...
I mean, like, we should, like, if you've made it this far, and it's your first podcast, we're not moaning at the match here.
No, absolutely not.
All will become clear.
The winner of this obviously gets the number one spot in next week's Casino Gauntlet, and look what that did for Jay White. They early on all try some pin attempts. Nightingale hits an enziguri on Chris Statlander, runs through Storm with a shoulder tackle. Toni Storm keeps getting chucked out to the floor just repeatedly. She finally cross-bodies off the top onto both of them, though. Tries a sunset flip on Statlander, who doesn't budge. I think this is Excalibur's favourite spot of the entire night. Nightingale sneaks in from behind to deliver a low blow via slingshot Toni Storm. Excalibur, yeah.
He was pissed himself, wasn't he?
He was. I saw something he said, just say he's wheezing on commentary.
It's a great spot.
It was a great spot.
We get a break, come back. Storm tries for another crossbody. We get caught, and Nightingale and Statlander hit a double fall-away slam. Statlander offers a handshake to Willow Nightingale, but before that can be resolved, Storm cuts them both off, and they all go into it. Storm hits a headbutt. Nightingale hits a discus lariat for a triple down. Statlander backdrops out of Storm Zero, hits a shotgun drop kick, but as she charges, love this spot, Nightingale just pounces her out of nowhere. There's sweet sheet music on Statlander. Nightingale hit a cannonball on both of them, hits Storm with a DVD for two. They start trading suplexes and discus lariats. Storm avoids Chaos Theory. Nightingale's there to hit double German suplex, though. Storm almost got a flash cradle on Willow Nightingale, but Statlander put a stop to it, got rid of Willow, and hit Wednesday Night Fever for the 1-2-3. She gets the number one spot next week.
This didn't hit the ceiling that I had placed on it, I don't think, but I had really high expectations for this. I can't really fault the work too much. Maybe it was just the atmosphere in the building, which we haven't really mentioned, was uneven throughout the night. There was no frisson here. There was no sense that this is amazing. You're getting three of the best in the ring at the same time, and you very rarely get this on Dynamite. I thought it was going to scan as more of an event, but I think the work was very good mostly, but not outstanding. And I think, again, you're putting the women's division more often than not in a position to fail, and when they have a relative failure like this, where it's not as good as the graphic, is it?
No.
It's when it's a relative failure, because it's not really quite as good as the graphic, even though it's a good match, it's because they are on a weekly basis, put in a position to fail by very, very apathetic, obligatory booking all the goddamn time. Wish this had opened Wish this had opened.
Yeah, that's a good
Historic rigged game, North American women's wrestling, isn't it? Rigged game. They do not get the opportunities to miss. And this was far from a miss, but you've got to hit like an all-time home run every single time, and that expectation is not placed on the men almost ever, really. It was like, it threatened to be kind of like approach great in places, but it like didn't come anywhere near its peak. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I just really like all three of these wrestlers. Yeah. There was a WWE quality to this in that like none of it like had me jumping out my seat match-wise, but I love them all. That I kind of found myself...
Love that pounce spot.
Yeah, that was good.
I found myself getting like drawn in because I just really do care about all of these characters and the little individual stories that they were telling and how they were
all faithful. It was nicely constructed.
It was, like Toni Storm. Like, I've got to give her more credit for this character because she obviously does a great job in these vignettes, if you like that sort of thing, and I do. But now she's incorporating it into the match because in the wins she's been picking up, like, she sells a bit of surprise, and then there's those amazing moments where timeless Toni Storm flashes across. And then
she's allowed to do NXT face.
Yeah.
That's how good this character is right now.
She sort of suppresses timeless and just goes back to being, happy to be here and stuff. That's against the wrestlers she feels quietly confident she can beat. She can flip that script entirely when she doesn't necessarily think she has it against Willow and Stat. So the idea that she was like the jobber to the stars portion of this triple threat was I didn't predict that, and that was kind of inspired.
She, in her own words, because I mentioned after this, she chatted with Renee Paquette, gave it her best, but clearly isn't ready yet. But it was an honour to be in there with Statlander and Nightingale. She's going to keep working hard. It's not Tony time all the time.
She could take best character in AEW for second year in a row at this rate, depending on how long this goes now. Like, because it's a shame Grand Slam's so close.
I know.
Because you probably do have to get that. Like, I heard this point somewhere else. I don't want to steal the take. It might have been post-wrestling. It was, this character is an easier way to sell tickets doing marketing for Grand Slam than Timeless Toni Storm. Yeah. Because that is such a, like, out there character. She'd have to kind of drop the gimmick a bit. Whereas, like, I'm coming home. It's amazing to be in Australia. I want to achieve my dream and become AEW Women's Champion. And everybody's going,
you've done it.
Again?
Yeah.
No, not again. I've never wrestled in a stadium this big in Australia. I want, just being able to like double down on that. The character's perfect for that as well. She has somehow managed to make it feel like she's on the babyface ascension story, even though she's the biggest star and is trying to win the belt back. Yeah, it's brilliant.
But as I mentioned, that was, as far as I'm aware, the only women's match on this show, which means we have to get to the name of the game. But before that, the aim of the game.
The aim of the game is to identify to the hour, minute, and second the first time you hear the first note of the first entrance theme for the first woman to come out for the only women's match on Dynamite. The idea being that most weeks, over time, historically, over Dynamite's 5-ish year lifespan, tends to fall in that 120 to 125 minute range, or thereabouts, semi-main, or the bit before you are allowed to get to the main event, more like. And we just want to put in bold, underscore, and italicize. Patterns emerged here, and it's they always put the women on. Well, they almost always put the women on before the main event, and you're thinking, why though? Why do they do this? And then you get a bit cynical, quite frankly, about it, and you think, are they just trying to get it out of the way with the idea being, hey, you've got loads of mint blokes. We have to put the women on for the optics, otherwise the wokes will kick off. But if we do it here, it just means you've only got to watch one event, and then the main event attractions coming on. And you're thinking, that's a bit cynical, but I mean, the pattern persists to this day. And you think, what a mouthful, Sidgy. What a mouthful, Sidgy. Can you instead jingleize what you perceive to be this pretty cynical thought process on the part of AEW and or Warner? I sure can. Don't worry, guys. When the women come out to play, the main event ain't too far away. And that's the aim of the game. And the name of the game is... Just don't know what I'm doing. Stand up and in the ladies' night and the ladies' night. This is righteous night.
Thanks as always to the Panda Blair himself, Adam Blair, at Adam Wilson Ford, and Jose Palomares at the Ho 11. The guys who always take care of the
data.
Thank you for this sort of thing. And Panda Blair, of course, providing us with our awards from previous years.
Yeah.
Hold yours up. Oh,
where's yours?
I'm not a competitive person. I don't care for trophies.
So you're a loser.
No,
I could tell you ain't competing when you put this match in the first hour. That's clearly not going to happen.
So what do yours awards say?
Mine says Ladies Night WhatCulture Champion 2022 and Ladies Night WhatCulture Champion 2024.
Well, mine says Ladies Night WhatCulture Champion 2023 and winner of the pool tournament.
Yes.
Old office, haven't defended the crown in a long time, but bit of law. Michael Hamflett is better than me at pool. I'm big enough to admit that, okay? Better than me at pool. We had a head-to-head record, and we had it on our little board.
Oh, yeah.
We would add to it. And after, April, it was a waste of time because for the annual rankings, Hamflett was going to go. He entered unassailable leads all the time. It was just for fun, yeah.
And it was how this podcast got started, as we discussed on our
Yes.
Get the Table for Three, basically.
Indeed. It was kind of an event, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It was showtime.
Oh, yeah.
Morpheus is fighting Neo. That was what it was for me every day.
It was a curtain sellout, wasn't it?
It was a curtain sellout, locker room sellout. It was good. It was all good. But then Hamflett in a tournament setting when there's stakes on the line, he dropped his arse. And with my mentality of steel and that elite mentality, because it is a little bit scary.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a competitive person. I don't enjoy things when they're competitive.
But if you've got that defense, if you've got that winner's mindset, you can just compose yourself, steady those nerves, ride that moment, defeat that moment, win. That's what I did. So
I never wanted trophies. I wanted a cup. And we got one. And you can get one too.
Hey.
WhatCulture.com/shop.
I wanted trophies and cups. So
Sidge, can you take us through our guesses?
Mid-2000 SmackDown usage, because I want it all.
I wanted it.
Our guesses in Ascending.
Ascending?
Never know, man.
Never going to learn.
No.
Never gonna
Still
learn.
press the wrong button on, when you're doing it on a document. Oh, it's the wrong way around.
Let me just check my notes. I've done this one a while. Should I go through my last 6 texts?
Yes, please.
Bear in mind, I'm popular on WhatsApp.
You're talking about your friends and family. Getting more popular with the friends and family.
Well, just no one gets text anymore, but I write it in text and not. You can't really write yourself on WhatsApp, can you?
I'm not.
No.
It's not as far as
Don't know.
I
Anyway,
do notice,
so-
yeah.
So the last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6th text message was me saying to someone who left an answer phone, "You don't have Mary's correct number, I'm afraid." Above that in 5, Best Pizza Jarrow
Ooh.
sending me a little offer. Then it was Sky Mobile saying I'm almost out of data.
Oh, typical.
And it's the Mrs.
Probably using all the WhatsApp.
Yeah, Mrs. with just a list of chores. Then it's Google telling me my login code, verification code. Then it's myself.
So what were the times you put your That's that segment over.
I wish. Michael Hamflett, no hours, 15 minutes, fled as his head. Michael Sidgwick, 1 hour, 8 minutes and 54 seconds. Adam Wilbourn, I don't know you from Adam, 1 hour, 23:45. You're going to look littler ladies' night, aren't you?
The system works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, I might game the system next week.
1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
Yes.
I've got a twist of how I'm going to get in the system. I don't think you're going to be able to guess it.
It's funny if next week it's spot on as well.
Yeah.
What? The game's finished. But yes, that takes me into the lead. An unassailable lead, some might say.
No, it's not assailable.
Okay, yeah. There's a fair few weeks left for Ladies' Night. But let's get to the main event of Dynamite.
What was the time?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Thank you.
Come on, mate. What was the time?
Thank you to
Putting your computer away, are you?
He remembers.
1 hour, 36 minutes and 46 seconds. Oh, yes, very much the last thing
I
before
still
the main
remember when you
event.
said that on a pod. I remember that. I can't remember what it was. It's the Ryan from The Office list of enemies.
Kenny Omega's return closed out Dynamite. New entrance video, music.
I hate it. Sorry.
Yeah, I knew
It's
you were gonna
but
say
it's
that.
so him that it's like, well, it's a bit like when I mentioned Punk and say warts and all. This is Kenny Omega's warts. Turns out his warts are his hobbies and interests. Like when he does like really in the weeds video game stuff, obviously I have no knowledge of that, but I love that he loves it because I love Kenny Omega, and what makes Kenny Omega is all of those parts coming together. I love his New Japan music and his AEW music. And this replaced both.
Yeah.
I'll get used to it. It's
Yeah.
wrestling. It's like cope for me. I just get used to stuff. But I did it when he came out of World's End. It was like that was part of the pop, and you lost that.
Yeah. Well, I think about it. I will get used to it. There is one I can barely remember what it sounds like. First time I heard Devil Sky, I was like, duh, 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 duh. It's just like he's already got a theme that sounds like an epic video game character / boss, final boss deal. So that, and there is one moment I remember hearing it twice now where I'm like, oh, I'm starting to get a little bit up for it, but it's just maybe in 6 months I'll revisit my opinion.
Or that he's doing. It's very, very elite. This, but like, who else has a theme at the moment that not necessarily would have bored with and want them to return to a theme of a former time, a former place? That's Hangman Page.
Yeah, maybe
because they're always connected.
Yeah, I think he wanted a new one.
it's the elite. They're always connected.
No. Maybe he just wants a new one, but yeah, it's weird. It's like it's what I'm looking for here. It's got such epic grandeur that I think the juxtaposition between that theme and it being on this sort of era of Dynamite, that's a little bit of it's hard to get past that as well. If he's coming out to this one and it's 9,000 sellout, hot, maybe that grandeur helps. I don't know.
Because it was the S&M Wank Arena, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sure was.
But yes, big smile on his face, huge pap, obviously. Kenny chants, welcome back, all that. And he's obviously overcome with emotion, says, you're not making this any easier. Thank you. And he talked about a little over a year ago checking himself into hospital and finding out he had diverticulitis, them taking 2 feet of his spleen or intestine, whatever it was, from him.
Sorry, spleen.
And the doctor basically telling him if he hadn't checked in when he did, he could have died. Then they had the surgery, and he had 2 questions. How long will recovery be, and when can I get back in that ring? And the doc basically said, yeah, you'd be lucky to return to a normal way of life, let alone getting back to the Kenny Omega that you were. But he wanted to, and he's a professional wrestler, and you push yourself too hard, he had to go back to the hospital 4 more times.
Is that like, if that's not a work, and it's fine if it is, but 4 more months in hospital when we thought he was, come on, Kenny, you're recovering now? I'm back in hospital 4 times.
If it's one of those where it's like, it's the truth, so then tell the truth and then tell them a lie, and they'll believe the lie because you've told the truth.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's that for his bloody case, for his sake.
And he wondered, could he still do this?
The bit, where he talks about having to learn how to go to the toilet again.
Yep.
Jesus Christ, that does sound awful.
There was a moment in time when giving up was the safest option, but when he considered that, what purpose does he have on this planet if he didn't have the fans with him? And a couple of days ago, he tested the theory in Tokyo, and again tonight, if he doesn't give it everything he has, he's not living, he says. He may not be the same guy, and able
he's better. So.
and able to do the same things he used to, but this Kenny isn't concerned about money or pride. This version of Kenny, and then he's interrupted by Don Callis' big face on the screen, and everyone's like, oh, God, Don Callis is here. But Omega doesn't waste any time. He goes out there to kick his ass and does hit him with some shots, but then here comes Brian Cage and Lance Archer to ambush him. Carl Fletcher, too. There's also, he gets laid out as they hold him up. There's Omega. Cage hits a shot to the abdomen. But Will Ospreay makes the save before they can finish him off. He hits Cage with it on the ramp, and Don Callis' family all scatter. And there's a moment between Ospreay and Omega whilst he's holding the chair, but he drops that, and there's the stare down, and Kenny's music plays, and they run through Maximum Carnage to close out this show.
I would say the setting instantly wasn't Wrestle Kingdom, so you've got it took a while for me to ease into I think he deserved 10,000 people screaming welcome back at the top of the lungs. It didn't quite have my perfect setting for this in mind, but it was what it was, and it is what it is. It was the most human he's felt, and it was the time for him to be human. He can come back and be that sardonic, I'm the best, and I'm a bit of a prick about it, like he was at Wrestle Kingdom in time. This was the time to reveal that human side, to tell the story, to build the sympathy. In the World's End of the Suit. He's been there. Yeah. So I've got this didn't diminish my excitement about Kenny Omega at all. It felt the most human he's felt. I'll enjoy this a lot more, I'll be honest. Did you watch the extra 3 or 4 minutes when he did his...
Oh, and I meant to
It's
because
great.
he picked up the mic.
Oh, yeah, because he was holding the mic as we went off the air. I was
Yeah.
like, I was going to say something, and then, yeah.
I enjoyed this a lot more because he went a little bit deeper in that 4-minute additional, I'm sending the crowd home, happy, goodbye, good night. He had a really little good motivational speech where he was witty with it. It was just like magic stuff. This just about met my expectations. Just about, if I'm being brutally honest, I will hold Kenny to the highest standards. In terms of the direction, Brian Cage is as good a TV match as any, as Brian Cage has tweeted, and then the receipts of when he was like basically talking with, or AEW Bound in late 2019, he was taking pictures and posting pictures of him and Kenny, and Brian Cage has tweeted, "This is the match I wanted 5 years ago. It's the reason I signed," pretty much. As good an opponent as any, and you know they're going to just kill each other in there and try and make something huge out of it. So I'm really excited. I've got a spot, but I will not step on the dick of next week's preview. Is Ospreay going to team with Kenny against the Bucks?
Yeah.
Is he and or wrestle each other? And is this zone of, is it going to be a division in 2025 of Ospreay, Okada, and Omega in the same company at the same time, in the same position, there or thereabouts? I mean, this could be incredible. I just wanted a bigger house, I think.
Yeah, I get that. I enjoyed this without ever really sort of like punching the air or roaring or jumping for joy, as I did multiple times at Wrestle Dynasty.
Maybe if this is the first time you'd seen him and he said I'd cleared.
Yeah.
But the fact that you've seen it really.
There was also the sense, like I do think Ospreay versus the Young Bucks is going to happen, but I was kind of sensing that they're going to maybe drop that Young Bucks element of this.
There was no Perry.
No. And
if Perry was over, you better believe it would have been Perry interrupting, because that's how they wrote him out. But Perry's anti-over.
There was a line, it was something like, you can't live with like old problems, old grudges or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was almost like,
out of the way, you.
Yeah, you're telling us that, as well as you're going to go on with the Callis family instead. That had the potential to be like, oh no, not Don Callis, because everyone's got this like, enough for the past.
Like 2023 was
face forward, Kenny.
Creatively a bad year for Kenny.
But he nailed it by immediately. I thought of you with the invisible wall.
Yeah.
He's decking him. There was no like sort of, oh no, here comes Callis. It's bad. He's brought them out by just battering Don Callis. They're not trying to tease that like it matters. These Callis guys, maybe Fletcher will be the one because of an Ospreay link. Takeshita was conspicuous by his absence because they'll do that again. And that's how you make this mini Fuad feel important. But you were reassured that like a Callis family feud is the starter pack thing for Kenny, not the thing. And I think that was important.
Yeah.
It was good. It was nice.
It was good and nice. Maybe, again, if it was a bigger house and he hadn't already returned at Wrestle Kingdom, because him doing the whole, I don't know if I can be the same Kenny. You are.
massive gash down the side of his head.
You know
He's just like changed the world again on Saturday or whatever it was.
Well, let us know your thoughts on Kenny Omega's return and on this episode of Dynamite in the comment section or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch, they can follow all four of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick.
Follow our brilliant producer Adam Nicholas at
It's Adam Nicholas.
And you can follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. As I said, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. In fact, if you want to know these guys' thoughts on Kenny Omega's in-ring return to Wrestle Dynasty, that's available as a podcast right now. But for now, this has been the Dynamite Review. My thanks to Hamflett, Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.